What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Paul Brown here, and I'm joined today by Nathan Kelly, all the way from sunny Dubai. Nathan, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
It's a big week for you. I mean, we just had the announcement that you're going to be taking part in the PFL's global tournament, which I think was kind of one of the worst kept secrets in MMA over the last while, because we all saw some trailers that they were kind of releasing some promo clips about the tournament, and your face was kind of front and center in quite a few of them in the lead up to the road to Dubai. So I think we were sort of expecting the news, but we got it officially this week, and what an opportunity for you.
Yeah, it's funny as well because I didn't even really know I was going to be in it. I was just I done some promo work for the PFL for the Road to the Boy thing, and then while I was there, they're like, "Oh, while we have you, we want you to do these extra few bits for with this one shot thing." And I was like, "Oh, what is it like?" And they're like, "Oh, it's for the tournament or whatever." And I was like, "All right." And the way I thought of it was, I just thought that they were gonna like use me as like footage to help promote it because there was a camera there, and it's kind of, I thought it was going to be like, oh, while we have you, we'll just use you for the marketing, like, do you know what I mean? Because there was a camera rented, and you know what I mean, all that jazz. So I didn't actually know I was going to be in it, but then when I saw all the promos then leading up to it, I was like, this, like, I'm in this a lot. Like, I was like, I'm in this a lot here, so I don't know what's going on here. And then fight week came in Dubai, and I got the news then. Like, they're basically saying, like, one of the lads goes, "I just want to get some footage of you talking about how you're going to be in the tournament and blah blah blah." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "It's just one of the social media guys." And he's like, "Yeah, do you not know?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I had no clue I was going to be in the tournament." And he goes, "Well, now you unofficially know." And I was like, "All right." And then he's like, "No one told you, did they not?" And I was like, "No, no, no, not yet." Like, and I was like, "They probably didn't say anything because he wanted me to get over this fight first." But he was like, "Look, I have to record you saying some stuff about your thoughts of getting into the tournament and blah blah blah." And I was like, "All right, grand." So I ended up doing that anyway. But yeah, that was how I found out about it, just in passing almost. So that was what I was like, because obviously my last result wasn't great, but I had the the focus and the challenge of this to look forward to not let me feel sorry for myself too much and lick me wounds for too long. So it was kind of like, right, I've bigger and better things to be worrying about now. Let's get straight back into it.
Yeah, and like in the lead up, like I mean, the fight in January, like you mentioned, didn't go great, obviously, but looking at the bigger picture, prior to that, you had an 11 fight win streak. You had won every fight under the Bellator slash PFL banner. We had anyone in Irish MMA circles who's spoken to you before or after fights recently, we've all been sort of saying, like, talking to you about like maybe due a big opportunity, and all of a sudden now you're fighting on the road to Dubai card, and then you're in the global tournament. It feels like it's sort of a coming of age time now. Like this is your moment to kind of move up a level, and now you get the chance to back up all the things that you've been saying over the last couple of years.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I felt like it had to come sooner rather than later. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 28 this year. I've been on a good run. Like, obviously, bar the last fight there, but I still think now the last fight there, 9 times out of 10, I finish him in the first round. It's just that one night, God forsaken, that one night. You know what I mean? I didn't. But like, yeah, I felt like something was going to be coming my way fairly soon. Whether that see the whole Bellator thing getting disbanded, I didn't really know anything about that, and so I thought maybe they'd keep, because I fought a lot on Bellator leading up to this. So I was like, maybe they'll keep me and help me like push towards a Bellator title, or maybe I don't know what way it'll be, or else maybe they will put me into the tournament. Um, but like I knew something was going to be coming. I just didn't know what way. I felt like I was going to be owed something, or was due something from my effort. And like aside from the actual fighting, like, and everyone always says it to me about, like, so it's something you probably don't really appreciate until you hear it. But like, everyone from the PFL, like, they all like praise me in terms of my professionalism as like not only a fighter, but like how I handle myself, like with the stuff, all the background stuff, like the like filling out the forms, and doing promotion, and doing like just dealing with the staff on a personal one-to-one level. Like, they all like doing me interviews, everything to do with like me promotion, me media, me just how I handle myself. Like they 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 all compliment me on it and they credit me. They think I'm a credit to myself, and I think that has a part to play in it as well. They don't just see it as me or like Nathan the fighter. They're kind of looking at me as like from the more personal side of it as well. And they're like, this is a good guy and a good person who deserves good things maybe to come his way. And I'm kind of grateful that they've, as well as me results, they've saw the good person that I am, and I think they've given me the shot as well as me results, but also on the basis of this as well.
Yeah, I mean that's something that does stand to fighters, like building good relationships behind the scenes. I mean, people who just watch the fights on a Saturday night maybe don't see this, but I've worked in the background in a variety of jobs for a lot of promotions at a relatively high level at certain points, and people that are easy to deal with and that like you'll see the UFC, they like guys who say yes to fights at short notice, and then guys who kind of turn down opportunities, they can be a bit cold with them. And you've seen the likes of Mohammed Makayev, who notoriously a difficult person to deal with behind the scenes, and they just cut ties with him because they just didn't want to do it anymore, no matter how much they could have used them in the flyweight division. So I think being handy to deal with and being personable and, you know, wanting to all help each other out and work together to grow, I think that definitely stands to someone like yourself in this situation. Would I be right?
100%. And this is from day one. From day one when I had my first fight with the PFL. Obviously, they didn't know who I was and blah blah blah. So when I first got there, I was kind of like, right, I want to handle myself well here, and more importantly, first fight with them. Let's like really impress them. So that was my goal for me first fight, and I did just that, and they really liked what they saw and they liked my personality. So then when I did build, when I got my foot in the door, then it was, and they really got to see, because my next fight then was in the States, and I'll never forget, like I had like a lot of paperwork to do in terms of getting me US visa and stuff, and I had everything done like straight within the day they sent me. Do you know what I mean? And they couldn't believe how professional I was with that. And then obviously then over time, I built a good relationship with the staff, and I've done a lot of good things for them in terms of like you said, taking on opponents on late notice, or still fighting lads who miss weight, and doing that, as well as then as like being. I think they really saw the worth of me, especially around the time I was the headline of the PFL Europe finals in Dublin. I sold a shit ton of tickets. I really handled myself well in all my media. I really handled myself well in the build up and on fight week. And ultimately, then I was able to back it up and got the win in the first round. And I think they really, really saw that the like my self worth in terms of me as a person, me as a character, me as a fighter. And ultimately, then my relationship kept going strong, and yeah, they've taken a liking to me, and I'm like, I told them anyway from the start. It's like I want to be a part of this. Like and it wasn't even bullshit. I was like, I want to be a part of this, like this growth and this new thing in MMA. You know what I mean? The UFC is there. I want to become a star through you. As I want to be a part of this new generation of fighters that are coming through this platform. And it's like, I'll do whatever it takes for you and me to get there. You know what I mean? And I think they're appreciative of me willingness to cooperate and ultimately take the risks, take the challenges, and steer towards the one direction.
Good to see. Let's circle back to the last fight, the Ahmed Magomedov fight, and like you mentioned, you kind of you've got a reason to look forward straight away, so you haven't had to maybe dwell too much on the negativity, picking up your first loss in a long, long time. But I mean, looking back at the fight, it's one of those fights, and people don't sometimes understand the fight game. Things can go south very, very quickly, and that kind of happened, didn't it? In that fight, it was like you were, oh, Nathan's about to finish this guy, and then all of a sudden the tide had completely turned. There was a couple of ideas or theories speculated in the few podcasts and things I listened to in the aftermath about why that happened. Like I think Shawnee Sheehan had said maybe he was semi-concussed from one of the blows he took. Other people kind of speculated it might be an adrenaline dump, something like that. What are your thoughts on it? How did it feel in there, and what was it that kind of turned the tide so quickly?
I don't know. I think the first round started how I expected. Really, kind of exchange kick for kick. He shot in. I was able to. He took me down, but I was able to work back up to my feet. We knew that was going to be the case. Like it'd probably be a big explosive takedown, but fight the hands, work back up to the feet. Elbows off the cage. Maybe look to get circle off the cage, get back to striking. But I landed the elbow. You know, and what pisses me off more is that like me and Dave Roach are chatting about it. Like we knew the elbow would land. We planned for that elbow to land, and Dave kept over and over kept saying to me, when you hit me at the elbow, just take your time. Hunt, stalk him, and then land your shots. But when he ran away, I sprinted after him. I crushed me work, and he went to the ground, and I went to the ground with him. It's like it's one of them things when you're watching the fight on the telly, you're like, "Don't, why are you going to the like?" What I mean? Or when they rock them and they try to take them down, what are you trying to take them down for? And it was one of them things. Then I passed the guard. I got the side control. I didn't go to mount. I just hesitated for like that's what I'm saying. Like normally it could have been the pressure. It could have been me nerves. It could have been that I was too tense. Or obviously there's all these possibilities as to why it didn't go my way. But I just know on that night it didn't go my way. The knee to the bollocks then was a big shifter in the momentum of the fight. Yeah, and then the second round, then I came out. I actually didn't feel like even that tired, to be honest, but I felt really tense because at the end of the fourth round, or near the end of the fourth round, he got me in a Dagestani handcuff, and he pulled it so far behind me back that whatever happened to the nerves in my arm, my whole arm from my shoulder down to my fingers just went completely numb. So I was kind of like that was on weighing on my mind. I was like, fuck yeah, I can barely like have any feeling in my right arm. So then the second round gets started, and I think I was just really tense. I was overthinking my arm, and I was just really tense. Instead of me, getting off of me footwork and moving left and right and starting the round fresh, I was kind of like almost tense and like, fuck, what am I gonna do? As opposed to what can I do? You know what I mean? And then I ended up just standing square in front of him, and he ended up pushing me up against the fence and got good control, and just controlled me really well. And he had a good he had like almost like a body triangle from mount almost. He had his leg underneath and kind of tucked to his knee. It's very hard for me to move my hips, and ultimately then his referee, he kept landing shot. It was getting closer and closer, so I was like, because I wasn't even getting hurt from the punches really, they were just kind of like pushing me. I didn't really feel like I wasn't really taking much. Like there wasn't a point. Someone probably said I was concussed, but I definitely wasn't. Like I was just stuck. You know what I mean? And then obviously I seen the referee getting closer, and I was like, right, I need to fucking move. And the only way I could move was onto my belly, and then obviously I went belly down, gave him the choke. I was more gutted that I got finished. I feel like if I had went out and lost by decision, I would have been a little less, of a pain in the hole. But yeah, I was just a bit like embarrassed about that, and probably should be embarrassed to talk. But yourself, like you're finished. You know what I mean? You want to hold all your pride in your heart and go out on your shield. But yeah, like I said, like I think 9 times out of 10 I'll fight in the first round when I heard them. Just maybe the occasion or me over eager self, because I'm so used to getting the first round finished. I thought, right, I'm gonna get this cunt out here now. Do you know what I mean? And I just rushed me work, and it's a lesson learned anyway. I've even in terms of me like, excuse me, even in terms of me like me approach being in the like I wound myself up a lot before that fight to be like, right, I'm gonna fucking let's go. Like I'm not afraid of this cunt. You know what I mean? And whereas normally I'm real relaxed and calm, so I always say after, it's always hindsight. It's a great thing. After it, I was like, I didn't not go through my normal routine that like on fight day for that one. I was a little bit too. I wound myself a little bit up too much maybe for the fight that it was. Whereas if I had been a bit calmer, maybe I would have seen the things a bit smooth, like a bit more like noticeably, or I would have seen his shot a bit better, or I would have set things up better if I wasn't so like over eager. But like I said, hindsight's a great thing. Now I have a lot of these lessons that I've learned. That's the great thing about competition is like when you win or you lose, you have you have to learn. You know yourself from doing jiu-jitsu competitions over the years that like when you go in, training in the gym is grand, but when you go into the competition, that's when you really have your answers or your questions to ask yourself. So, I said goodbye to my win streak, but I left with a lot of questions for myself, and I left things to correct and to adjust. So, like in one way, I'm kind of been like I'm gutted. Obviously, my streak is gone and blah blah. But another way, I'm like, fuck it. I believe everything happens for a reason. I was like, fuck it. It was meant to happen to me. Now I have some questions to deal with and answers to solve.
Yeah, and I mean, you get to go straight back to the coalface very, very quickly as well. Like you're in the tournament, which I think it's the first round. They've released the dates, the first kind of 4 dates for the opening rounds. Do you know which specific date you're on yet? Have you received news on that?
Yeah, I'm on the 3rd of April, so it was 7 weeks from yesterday.
Happy days, yeah. So it's a nice kind of short window just to get yourself back in gear and top up on whatever gains you made over the training camp for the road to Dubai, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. And like that, I've like what are we in now? At the end, like it's been 3 weeks say since the fight. Like like, and I knew about this, but since the week of the fight. So like since the fight ended, like I've still like I've had nothing to lose. Like I've kept like making sure I get me striking, kept up on me striking, tried to let me body heal a little bit, and I just kept on doing me strength and conditioning classes. Because normally after a fight, I'll take like the first week or two maybe off sparring, and I'll just do like strength and conditioning and maintenance and maybe a bit of pad work and stuff like that. And just have a little bit of fun with me training and not take it too serious. So I followed me same procedure with that, and I've not had the chance to get out of shape really, and I've come into I had a 15-week or so training camp for that last fight, even longer because I thought I had fights throughout the year that I didn't have as well. So you know my whole last year from like August, I was training for the fight. So last year, I've been in basically a training camp, so I haven't been out of shape in like the last like fucking 8 months. I've been always in fight shape, always been ready to go. So now this is just another case of that. The fight's over and have the next thing in front of me, and I'm still in decent shape with me weight. I'm still in great shape physically and like mentally. Like Bar obviously is licking me wounds, but like I have such good like mental strength to not let myself get to be up over it and straight onto the next goal. So yeah, everything that could happen for this fight is going well. Like I said, I'm already in shape, already in have my weight on check. I'm mentally fortified. And now I'm just focused on what's next. And if I didn't have to fight so soon, like I'd probably been hammering the Ben and Jerry's nonstop and the Doritos and whatever else I'd be on when I'm over here in Dubai. I'd probably be hammering the drink out of it as well. But bigger and better things to work towards, and grateful that I'm in good condition to be going straight into the next camp.
Yeah, and I mean, you probably can't say who, but do you know who you're fighting on that date?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's up in the air yet. Do you know when the fights are going to be confirmed for you or announced?
No, not yet.
Have you looked
Hopefully,
at?
hopefully soon.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know, I suppose, just for sort of specificity, obviously, in your
I,
preparations.
I,
But
it has to be within the next week, maybe. Like,
would assume so. Yeah, you get a 6 weeks in where you can work with an opponent in mind, I suppose. Do you do a lot of kind of training specifically for the opponent? Because I was listening to Caelan Loughran. I was talking to myself a couple of weeks ago, and he was kind of saying because he's had late pullouts a couple of times now in the UFC, he's maybe getting away from doing that, whereas he used to do a lot of specific work for his opponent. What way do you approach that?
I do a little bit of, I do a bit for the opponent. Yeah, like I mainly just focus that I can be in the best shape mentally, physically, and sharpness, like and skillfully, I should say. Sorry, that's my main focus. But then obviously you're gonna have to look at an opponent and strategy and style. to understand what you're facing, what you're dealing with, and identify some holes or maybe opportunities to, to get good attacks off, or to get your game plan going. Like I like to see if, like, for example, I look at an opponent and he's real heavy on his lead leg, right? I'll kick his calf. All right, he's dropping his right hand a lot. Maybe left hooks will be nice off the end of my shots. You know what I mean? If I'm throwing combinations, I always finish with a left hook, or else he's he leaves his jab. He leaves his chin in the air a lot. So right, the half step back and the overhand right might be good there. And you look at these sort of things that will create openings or create opportunities for you to do damage or to get significant strikes off. Obviously, then if they have weak grappling, I'm like, right, you just identify areas that you can maybe take advantage of. And then ultimately, then once the areas are identified, it's about me being well drilled, fit as a fiddle, strong as an ox, and focused to make sure that what we have identified happens on the night. So it is a mix of both. But like that, I don't hyper focus on any opponent, because you look at my last two fights, I've had 2 pullouts in my last 2 fights. So it's a prime example of why you shouldn't get emotionally attached to one opponent. But yeah, I'd definitely look into, even if I got a short notice opponent, I'd still look into right, what kind of things does he do or not do from based off his last few fights, and then I work around that based off what I do then.
A list of fighters that are in the tournament. If I was to give you a free pick for your first opponent, who would you go with?
Who
would you want to fight most?
I can't even remember who's in it, man. Being honest, I know Jeremy Kennedy, and there's a few ex-champions in it. Jesus, who was in it?
There's some good names in there, but it sounds like you're kind of.
I suppose I'd pick the Korean boy. I'd say he hasn't been fighting for the PFL. I scanned him up. He's 10-1. Probably less experienced than some of the others. So if I was to play it tactically, in terms of me to get to the next round, I'd say I'd like to face the Korean dude. I actually had a look at one or two of his fights, and he's a southpaw, kind of long, lanky guy, and I have a good track record against long, lanky southpaw. So, I think that'd be a nice one. To be honest, I wouldn't really give up, Alex. I'd like to fight whoever. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the whole beauty of the tournament, is that I'm there to fight the best anyway, and whether I win, lose, or draw, I feel like that's where I'm meant to be, and that's where I want to be challenging, you know what I mean, against the top lads and the people who are highly touted to be some of the best in the world. So whoever they give me, they give me. But whoever they give me, I'm going to have to beat a tough lad anyway. There's not one easy fight in there. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm coming for these hard slogs. The only good thing about it is that now is the kind of win or go home thing. There's no points or anything like that. So I kind of prefer that, because the way the way it was the last time, the way you had, I could have had a really tough opponent win by decision and still not get to the finals because I didn't knock him out or submit him in the first round, and that could have been very disheartening, because I could have got just a hard draw and not get me opportunity, even though I bet probably one of the best fighters on paper there, but now it's just you can be actually a little bit more tactical and strategize your game plan a little bit more to win over 3 rounds and not ultimately hunt finishes that might end up leaving you either exhausted or leave you open for counters or opportunities for your opponent as well. So I think the whole thing of not having the points there actually makes it a little bit more strategically better for the fighters. You know what I mean?
It's more simplified, I suppose, and more like the old school kind of Grand Prix. They used to kind of do these things all in one night or over 2 nights as well, which is nuts, But it's cool the way it's a very short, condensed window, so the turnaround times are going to be very, very quick. How are you feeling about that? You're in for a busy few months. Should it go well?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. That's why I was laughing to Eduardo, one of the lads from Fighter Ops of PFL, because this year it's only 3 fights where normally it's 4, And I was like, well, I'm going to have to be the one to carry the 4 fights on their shoulders this year, because I've obviously fought in January, and now I'm having, hopefully then get to the final. I would have had the 3 then over the 6 months. So normally it's 4 over 8 months, and now it's 3 over 6, but I'll have done the 4 over the 8 months if all goes accordingly. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm keeping the OG season format well and truly alive this year. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, willingly, God willing, it all goes well. You know, that's ultimate. Other than the fight I just had, like if all goes well, I have 4 fights this year. That's 4 paydays for me. Plus, obviously, you get 500K at the end of winning the tournament if you win it. So, you know, that is just life changing for me. You know what I mean? And just the ability to have 4 paydays is it's surreal, and I'm grateful and humble for the opportunity that they've given me, and it's just about me, you know, going out and doing what I know I can do when I'm out there in the cage, and to give the best me of myself that I can give. And yeah, just I have a little chip on my shoulder as well now to prove. So I'm mad to get in now, right me wrongs, and you know, slowly show everyone why they gave me this opportunity, and why they gave me this chance. You know, I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying my opponent should have got in, and this, that, and the other, and I was kind of like laughing at them, going, "Fuck you! I was already in before him." Do you know what I mean? So I was like, "This was done before he even accepted the fight." Do you know what I mean? But they already have your man Movid Habalayev. I think they wanted to have like a fighter from each country in the featherweights, because there's no one fighter from the same country in my division. So but yeah, no, it's good. It's exciting. It's going to be a busy year, and I'm a workhorse anyway, so it's nothing that I'm not accustomed to, you know.
Don't ask how does the rest of 2025 look, but getting paid a bunch of times sounds like a good way to spend any kind of year, you know. Um, you've been over in Dubai now for quite a little while, and we spoke about this the last time we did an interview there for a while. But you're heading back to Dublin now next week. Are you going to be training for this upcoming fight out of Dublin?
Yeah, I'm going to be training out of Dublin. Obviously, it's in Florida, and the time zone from here is like 10-hour difference. So I wouldn't fancy doing that now. And yeah, it'd be too much, I think, to get used to, especially on the week of the fight, from 10 hours to fight that week. It'd be a lot. So I want to break up the time zone a little bit again. So I'm heading home. Plus, I need to I'm burning through the cash over here, man. It's ridiculously expensive over here. So I'll get home, and yeah, I'll get back on Dave, and more importantly, I have a few lads obviously who are going to be up near the same time as well. So and all the lads are, you know, are more than willing to push me to my limit at home, and because this is such a big occasion, a big event, that the lads will be on me back to keep me fit and keep me sharp. So yeah, going home for that, see me family. More importantly, break up the time zone and get me last like 5 or 6 weeks of training at home before I shoot over to Florida. Yeah.
Guys, well, look, thanks for your time today. I'll probably catch up with you when you're at home here in Dublin between now and when you head over stateside for that fight. And if I don't see you, best of luck in the fight, brother.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah.
Peace.